Yes, people, I hope you're all good. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a book summary. Now, I've recently read The Richest Man in Babylon, and it was one of those books, where you get to the end of it and you think, wow, I want to share this with people. In fact, my first thought was actually, when I have kids, I need to make sure they read this book because it's really profound. There were some great lessons in it, and it's a way of talking about personal finance that actually keeps it interesting rather than just reading these books of, oh, if you invest this percent and then residuals and whatever. It actually makes it interesting and understandable, which is really interesting considering it's set in Babylon so long ago. Now, the first lesson that I wanted to share out of that was to live on less than what you make. Now, the way that they put this in the book is that a part of what you earn is yours to keep. Now, when you first hear that, that sounds self-explanatory. Of course, a part of what I earn is mine. Like it gets paid into my bank account. I'm the one that's getting paid for it. I get to choose how I spend it. Of course, it's mine to keep, but you've got to ask yourself, is it though? Because how much of that is still there at the end of the month? After the taxman's got their cut, after your car dealer's got their cut, after you've got your food, after you've paid for water, electric, after you've bought some clothes, how much is actually left at the end of the month? For most people, and I believe the statistics is over 90%, it's not much and they're living paycheck to paycheck. Now, sure, you might say, oh, well, I did spend a little bit of this on these clothes that I really wanted, or I did spend a little bit of this on that night out. But you've got to ask yourself, okay, if you had all the money in the world, would you still be going on a night out in your local town? Or would you be going somewhere else? Would you be going on holiday instead? Would you still be buying this cheap knockoff clothes? Or even if they are the actual clothes, would you be spending all of your, like, there's such a high percentage of your money on clothes? No, you wouldn't. So you're not really spending how you want to, you're spending how you have to, or how you feel like you have to, because you're in this state of lack right now and you don't see yourself getting out of it. So when you then start to take this money and then hold on to it, pay it to yourself and make sure that it's yours to keep, the percentage that they tend to say in the book is 10% away. 10% of what you earn, take that away. You earn 10 gold coins, keep one. Now, it talks about this magical rule in there that I do believe to be very true, that when you start to do this, you don't notice that one gold coin out of 10 go. Because when I started to save, it was actually a little bit higher than that percentage wise, but yeah, you don't notice it. It's genuinely like it's magic, because you would find a way to spend that otherwise anyway, because you will end up. It's like the analogy people use for like a shark, where it'll only grow as big as its container or whatever. That's kind of how people spending is. If they've got £5 a month this month, they'll find a way to spend £5. If they've only got £500 a month, they'll find a way to live on that £500. So if you then cut that off a little bit, save that and put that somewhere else, you'll be absolutely fine. And I've seen that on both ends, because I've seen that both on my saving, and I've also seen that when my earnings have increased. When I've then started to pay myself more from my business and my trading, I don't actually feel much richer, even though I am paying myself a decent amount of extra money. It just disappears when it's not budgeted for properly, because again, you will find a way to spend that extra money. So when you've then got that money, I want to then come on to my second point, which is to make thy gold multiply. So there's no point in you just keeping that money and keeping it there and then just having it for a rainy day, but it not actually doing anything for you. So how do you then make sure that that money works for you rather than you working for money? So you have to make sure that you're then putting this into trustworthy places. You're then putting that into places where it can grow. Again, there's no point in just leaving it there. Don't just go, oh, what's the first Halifax savings account that I can build, because I've already got a Halifax account, or Revolut, or whoever you bank with, like most people do if they even bother to have savings. Or even, oh, let me just set up this ISA, because that's what they say you should do. Let me just set up this high yield savings account that doesn't even outpace inflation. Actually look into it. Now, there is a balance to this. You don't want to go too crazy. And this is when it kind of mentions to guard thy treasures from loss, which is going to be the third point. Now, you can go and invest into the most crazy things, thinking it's going to make some crazy return, but I'm actually going to combine these 2 points into one, Gold slippeth away from the man who invests it in businesses or purpose for which he is not familiar. So if you don't understand what you're investing in, don't invest in it. It's as simple as that, because that gold will slip away. You know, you have to make sure that you've got a suitable level of education and you understand where your money's going. So don't be too proud to then go, I need to learn more, I need to invest in my education. That's exactly what I've done. That's exactly what I offer to other people now, is to the idea that then people can then go and learn more about how to trade, what cryptos to buy, how to then manage their crypto, what to do with stocks, etc. There's no point in you just going and looking at a random Instagram reel that says buy this crypto coin and then it just going to zero because you don't really understand what's going on. Or even, you know, it's like people now that XRP's pumped, people want to buy XRP because they've seen it on TikTok. Why weren't you looking into this before? You're looking into it now because you haven't got the education and because the hype's there. I'm not saying that XRP isn't going to go up. I think that it will. But you've got to be looking into it deeper than that, and you've got to be prepared to bite the bullet and then learn more, because otherwise that gold will slip away. So I'm then going to go into the next point, which is kind of similar, which is that gold flees a man who would force it to impossible earnings. Now, if you go and decide, right, I'm going to put all my money into this random meme coin crypto because this could 1000x, you won't earn anything out of it. This is especially true in crypto and trading. If you then decide that every trade you're going to buy, you then want to have a 10 to 1, or even that you're going to stupidly over leverage so that you can pass your funded, or, oh, I've only got 50 quid on this account, but I'm going to risk the whole account so that I can then make 100 quid, and then you're going to lose money. Like, the gold will flee away from you. You won't be able to hold on to it. You've got to then go, what's realistic, what's manageable, how can I compound this and grow it over a period of time? This is what most people don't even like to hear. They like to hear, how can I get rich quick? But there's no such thing. There's no such thing, otherwise everyone will be doing it. So make sure that you're not then going, oh, well, if I buy this super small cap meme coin, then it's going to go crazy. Or even if you buy a sensible product. This was obviously part of the short that I'm posting as well, but people are talking about XRP going to $50. They're talking about it going to $100, $10,000. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe XRP does get to $50. I don't know. But if you're then deciding, I'm not going to sell my XRP until it reaches $50, even if it then reaches 49 and then you've not sold it, then what? You've then asked it to get to an impossible earning that it's not going to, and then all of that money that you could have made, you've then lost. That gold is then fleed from you. This is why you then need to, if you're investing into crypto, have an exit plan. If you think that XRP is going to get to $10 and you're buying into it at 50 cents, but it's now got to $2.50, why aren't you taking some profit at $2.50? You've 5 times your money. Why aren't you taking some profit when it gets to $4 or $5? Why are you waiting 100% for it to get to $10? Because it may never get there. Every single one of us can be wrong, and don't be too proud to admit that. Now, this kind of comes into the last point that I wanted to mention, is that you create your own financial luck. Now, at one point, the Richest Man in Babylon was doing kind of like a seminar, and then talking about wealth, how to build wealth. And a guy from the audience said, oh, I found this purse of gold coins. I got lucky. How do I then make sure this luck comes around more often? And the guy said to him that it's great that he had that luck, and then asked if everyone else was having this luck, and no one really did. And then he asked, does anyone feel like they've got close to luck, but then not quite got there? And one man from the audience stands up and he says that once in his town, just outside the town, there was some land, and someone came to him and said, when the town then expands, this land's going to become very valuable. If we then cultivate the land, make it so that it's good for crops and things like that, we can then make it a really, really great investment. And the man said, oh, that sounds great, and nearly did it. But then this clothes merchant came in, and he was selling like the finest silk robes, or whatever they would have been at the time. And he said, oh, well, how could I not? You know, me and my wife wanted them. They're the finest robes I've ever seen. It was for quite a reasonable price, but then it meant that he then couldn't put his part in to then buy the land. And then, as you'd expect, they brought the clothes, didn't buy the land, and then just as they thought, or even it even exceeded what they thought, the gold later on was then worth much, much more value. But the guy saw that as, oh, I got unlucky. Oh, if only I'd done that. And people will see this the same way. They're going to look at this in a year and then go, oh, if only I brought crypto earlier when Toby was talking about it. Not even when I was talking about it, but how many people still think that with Bitcoin or say that now? Oh, I heard about Bitcoin in 2012 and 2015. If only I brought into it then, I'd be rich. Okay, well, what's the next thing going to be? What's the next crypto? Because they're still being made all the time. There's still new cryptocurrencies. I genuinely believe that I'm going to get to a level where people will look back on this and then go, oh, if only I'd then listened to Toby when he was then starting to then provide mentorship and then have a platform that isn't just me, by the way. There's many people that are much, much more experienced that are part of what I do. And I believe people are going to look back on that and then go, oh, why didn't I give that a go? Why didn't I at least ask to then jump on a call and find out some more about it? And they're going to go, oh, I was unlucky. I was unlucky. If only I would have done that. Oh, if only I would have done that. I was so unlucky. You create your own luck. If the man there would have decided, no, I'm not actually going to buy those robes, I'm going to buy this land. Or there was another example of a man that didn't buy a flock of sheep that was much cheaper than they should have been because it was in the dark. And then in the morning light, people came and bought the sheep for 3 times the price he was offered. He went, oh, so unlucky, I didn't take the risks, it was in the dark and I couldn't see the health of all the sheep. Sometimes you create your own luck and you've got to be okay with that. And you've got to be okay with that going wrong sometimes as well, because that will happen. But luck won't come to you. Luck isn't something that's given, and in reality, and this was kind of the closing thought of the chapter, everyone has these opportunities. Everyone has the opportunities they can look back on and then go, oh, if I would have done that, that would have changed my life. It's just about some people take them, some people don't. And even some people might take them and drop out. But some people will take it and run with it and put absolutely everything into it. And those are the people that are then successful. So those were the 5 things that I learned from The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a bit of a different video. I know I said the podcast would be this week. The podcast is coming next week. Definitely. But yeah, that'll be everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next week.